Hello, and welcome back to Affirmed. Um, I actually am on video for the second time, though now I actually have two cameras. So I've got my Sony mirrorless here, focusing on something new that we're adding to the podcast, which is art, because as you'll learn soon, it's become a um, art has basically saved my life. And it's become a massive part of my life, so I want to include that. And then I have my iPad here as a second screen to record my beautiful face. And then I also am joined by the sultry sounds of my co-host.
Sultry. Hi, everybody. I'm Sultry now. Nice to meet you all.
Yeah, so Izzy is here. One of the reasons why we haven't recorded another episode together is just like, I'll get into why I haven't recorded anything, but my schedule and with, being a parent, trying and doing all the stuff that I do, trying to get two people in the same room to be quiet, when the household is quiet, to actually record has been very tough. So we figured out how to do it remotely now, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. All part of the plan.
Anyway, welcome back. It has been a long time. So the first little bit here, I don't know how long this will go for. It might actually be a bit of a longer episode than we're used to, but now you have something pretty to look at. In addition to hearing my lovely voice. I will try to keep episodes still short, but given it's been so long, this one might go a little bit longer. So I do have a little bit of a basic script here. Not much. I just wrote it now, and a very important, if you can see it, a very important message. We will make sure we talk about because it's important.
Yeah, sure.
Yes. So yeah, why the break? So last year was really tough for me. I've had a bunch of mental health issues, some diagnoses. Um, the one thing I have been diagnosed with is borderline personality disorder, or BPD, which has a lot of stigma to it, and so I am hoping to break that stigma somewhat here and tell you all a little bit about my experience, but I think that it also informs some of my trans experience as well. So essentially, I get overwhelmed easily, but I also just feel my emotions at
15?
50 to 100 times the rate of typical folks. So you're, on a scale of 0 to 10 in terms of intensity of your emotions, um, you when you're the happiest you could ever be, you might be a 10. You might be 11 if you're like that happy, and if you're really sad, you could be a 6 or 7. But if you're like so distraught, you might be a 10. So we're talking about intensity, not necessarily like 10 is positive, 0 is negative emotions. I feel on a scale of minus 100 to plus 100. Yeah. And I will feel my emotions so strongly that they physically hurt me, which causes some other issues. And then there's some other stuff in there just around, belonging and community and friendships and stuff like that. I don't exhibit all the traits of BPD. There are like 9 or something, and you have to hit so many of the 9 to be considered with the diagnosis. I hit enough, but not necessarily everything. So yeah, that's been fun to deal with, and this is where the podcast was one of the first things that I could just drop off because it was just too overwhelming to keep up with. And when I get overwhelmed, that's when my BPD really kicks up. And
Sometimes you just gotta lighten the load, and that's okay.
yeah. So Izzy jumped in for me and recorded a couple of episodes by herself. You probably all heard the first one, which I'm so thankful for. And I have not gotten around to uploading the second. And all I need to do is listen to it and upload it. And I've listened to it and just haven't gotten to uploading it. And that's a part of being overwhelmed, unfortunately.
That's okay. I'm nervous about that one anyway. So
Yeah, and it's a great episode either way. So we'll get it uploaded at some point. I will say, just on the mental health front, I know a lot of trans folks do have comorbidities, so it is not uncommon for someone who is trans to also have ADHD, autism, um, depression, anxiety, those kind of things. And I definitely have dealt with my share of depression and anxiety. I have not been diagnosed with ADHD, but I'm sure I exhibit many of the symptoms of that. So um, it is navigating your life in general is tough, and then you navigate your life with the additional layer of gender dysphoria
Mhm.
and being a trans person in the current state of affairs, and um, it just makes it that much harder and sometimes much more exhausting. And when I feel emotionally exhausted beyond just physical exhaustion, but emotional exhaustion, that's also when my BPD kicks up and things get tough.
Yeah, you were mentioning that it's very common. One of the I was doing some sleuthing in the background while you were talking. Roughly 50 to 60% of trans folks have some sort of DSM-5 diagnosed issue. To give you a solid figure.
I am unsurprised, and sometimes it seems like we are collecting
Yeah,
all the
same.
diagnoses.
Mm-hmm.
Big Pokemon fan, so you got to collect them all.
You got to get them all.
What I can say, and I'm happy to dive further into this if folks would like to talk more about mental health and mental health struggles. I'm obviously not trained to talk about any of this stuff, but I have spent quite a lot of time in therapy and learning about therapy, and it's actually something I'm hoping to go to school for at some point, um, to be able to help more people. But I'm happy to dive more into that kind of thing at some point. But I will say that DBT, which is dialectical behavioral therapy, is it was created to help folks with BPD, but honestly, having gone through multiple different forms of therapy, DBT is easily the best one, in my opinion, to help with so many different things. I think I honestly believe that everybody in this world would benefit from doing therapy in the first place, but would also benefit from doing something like DBT. Um, so yeah, the overwhelm was there. Part of the other problem was just around video. I wanted to introduce video. I had the sponsor that I was talking with, and I do have to get back to them at some point. And that was, for those that don't know, it's T Comfy Fits. I buy their tucking underwear. I have some of their tucking jeans and their tucking leggings, and they're wonderful. And I have spent um, a lot of time talking to them before ever coming up, even with the podcast idea, and they've been so wonderful to me. And their clothes are honestly the best that I can recommend in terms of tucking gear. And like I said, I can recommend that even like sponsorship aside. And if there is a sponsorship that does happen, it's not for me to get paid or anything like that. My ask of them is simply to help. Provide resources to help my local trans community here. So
Exactly.
yeah, so I wanted to introduce that, and I struggled. I want to do something like an outfit of the show or something like that, and do segments like that, and give me an excuse to wear cute outfits and some of my things that I feel best in, and maybe give you folks some inspiration. I know I've pulled a lot of inspiration from looking at lots of other folks out there and what they wear. So I wanted to do this, and today I'm wearing one of my favorite shirts. It is off the shoulder. I love this. I love this look, but I do need to find more of these, and also flare jeans. If you haven't tried flare jeans, most of my outfit before, my jeans before were
Like straight line.
yeah straight no like the tight fit,
Mm.
jeans and leggings, and now I love flare leggings, flare jeans. They're all they make you look good.
I don't know. Every time I've tried flare jeans on, I feel weird.
Mm, I didn't at first. It almost felt a little bit like bell bottoms, like 70s,
Yeah,
like very loose. And
yeah, they feel like that to me, and I'm like, I don't know about that.
yeah. Um,
But hey, if they're working, then they're working.
oh, and they are. I love them. The only thing with these camera angles is you can't see my whole outfit, so I'll have to figure that out. Maybe add a third camera.
Just keep adding cameras.
Yeah, all the cameras. So part of my problem there too is just in adding the videos, trying to figure out how, and I've sorted that out. But it also makes my editing a little bit more difficult, which adds to the overwhelm. So I have to balance that. And then also just trying to find a place in my house to do it. Um, I have kids. My house is busy, and it's hard to really get the space um, to make it look good. And I was worrying so much about like, oh, it's got to look perfect. You see all these podcasts and YouTubers who have these like perfect places, and it's like, well, my place is lived in. Um, and I've got two young ones that are love them, but they are wild, and sometimes it can be hard just to move all their stuff out of the way to get the space to do stuff like this for me. And then, of course, I can only record when they're not home. And then also, my partner, if she's working from home, that makes it difficult too. So, um, and then I was also worrying too about like myself and like putting on makeup and like making sure I look good and all that. And I realized that it's better for me just to do it than to worry about it so much that I don't do it. And so, yeah, you can see here I'm just wearing a little bit of eyeliner, and that's it. I don't need to be making myself up, spend an hour doing my makeup just to feel good to record. This is me, and some days I'll do full makeup, and some days I won't. And then I also found my space. So this is actually what I call my sanctuary. Um, so this is where I used to paint miniatures. Just out there, I have a ton of Warhammer and other miniatures like that I used to paint and play the game with.
Well, you got to be a trans girl trope about it a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. And when Izzy's talking, if I'm looking over there, it's simply because my computer is here, and so her voice is coming out from that side. But uh, yeah, um, yeah. I had a goal to try and collect all of the armies of Warhammer, and then I realized that that's expensive and a bad idea, and I probably
All
won't
of
do
them?
that. All of them. That was my goal.
Insanity.
Yeah, pure insanity. But that is BPD. Is I would just get excited about the prospect of having all the armies and doing this and that. And so that's what I tried to do. And yeah, that is one of the struggles with BPD. So, um,
There's some impulse stuff there. Yeah.
yes, definitely some impulse stuff. So this was used for that. And I last year got into doing arts. I always grew up thinking I'm not creative. I can't do art. I would love to be able to draw. I was really, especially lately, attracted to like wanting to draw like pretty women and fairies and fantasy stuff. And just like be able to like draw cute things that I could then like dress up with different outfits and that. Like really just have that creative outlet for things in my mind. And I always struggled with that because when I had something in my mind, um, I would put it on paper and it wouldn't come out anything like what was in my mind. And so I felt like a failure. And I'm sure a lot of you have felt this as well with many things that you do. Or it's like,
Same. Same.
right?
Yeah.
It's like you don't have that innate first try talent, and so you give up. Um, and I'm realizing more and more how talent is not innate. We may start at a higher level, some of us, with a certain amount of skill, but talent is earned. Talent is not something that we're necessarily born with. You do have to put in the work. Um, and so there's so many talented people in my life that I'm realizing that they got that talent from putting in the work.
Hmm. Yeah, no, it's there's a couple like I know the only real like pen and paper art that I do is maps like for D&D because I'm a massive nerd. And it took me a while to like I was not good. I was not good at all when I started, but they were always functional and I was like, okay, well, telling stories, it's always nice to have that extra little bit, but over time, like they've gotten pretty good. So it really is one of those things where like you just got to do it and then you got to do it again and then you got to do it again and then you just keep going.
Yeah, and you have to be prepared to be bad at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I learned this from someone that I admire greatly. Her name is Stephanie, and she runs a therapeutic arts business, which, just for clarification, is not art therapy. It's therapeutic arts. Those are different. Um, and so, since it's not art therapy, some people may look down upon therapeutic arts as not being as helpful or valuable. I think they both have their place, and therapeutic arts is what has changed my life in so many positive ways. And when I say that, art has saved my life, it is because of people like Stephanie, um, that has really helped me explore this side of myself that needed to come out, and needed to come out alongside Valerie now. Um, so yeah, if you can check out her work, it's she runs um, a course or a group, and that's like it's yeah, that's what it's all about. Is you got to make bad art before you can make good art. You got to make bad art. But even then, what is good art? Is the art that I make, does it appeal to people enough to like be sold on a mass scale? If it appeals to someone enough for them to spend millions of dollars on it, does that mean it's good? Or if it makes me happy, does that mean it's good? And so that's what I've been trying to work with, is just that, like, if my art makes me happy, then to me it's good, and it brings me so much joy.
I think specifically, and this is because you were mentioning that just now, and my brain went back to years ago when I was watching Adventure Time. And the quote itself is Jake the dog, if anyone's familiar. Dude, sucking at something is the first step towards being sort of good at something. And that's always been something that I've kind of believed in. Um, so like exactly the same thing that you're saying. You gotta do bad shit first, and then you'll get better. I know for me, lately I've been doing a lot of going to the gym with one of my friends, and I'm learning a lot from that. Where you go until failure, and then you take a breath, and you go again, and you go until failure, and you go until failure, and you keep like you're always going to reach a point where you're going to fail. That's not the problem. The problem is never that you didn't succeed. It's just that you maybe got overwhelmed and decided to stop. And failing is not the same thing as deciding to stop either. So
There Izzy is hitting you with the profound inspiration.
it's been the defining characteristic for 2026 for me so far. So it makes me feel pretty good so far.
You often do come in with those wise words. Um, so yeah, that has been a huge thing for me to learn. Um, and like the art that I have here, you might be looking at it and being like, "Oh, that's not good." And honestly, I don't care. And that's something that I think is important um, to anyone who is getting into art to learn is that you need to care about what you need to care about and not what others care about. Um, so yeah, I got into therapeutic arts and I've done some courses with Stephanie and found an amazing community there. Um, and actually, this here, you can see that back there is one of her prints, and this is her calendar. And then a bunch of that art on the wall is stuff that I've done. Though this here, the Born to Be, that is not my art. That was done by a dear friend of mine. But I think the rest of it up there is mine. Obviously not the Space Marine over there. That's from my Warhammer days. Um, so yeah, now I have this space. I'm surrounded by acrylic paints. If you're able to see behind the camera, it's all acrylic paints for miniatures, which I still have up. And then now I have a ton of other art up around there as well. And then just so many art supplies. I recently bought this Mossery Gretel Lusky, who's one of my favorite artists and a huge inspiration. I want to be able to do art like she does. So I got this Mossery kit that comes with a whole bunch of stuff, including the markers that I've been using, these Prismacolor colored pencils, and then the alcohol, Ohuhu alcohol markers, and a sketchbook as well. I'll show it to this that one. And I did get that personalized with my stage name. There are stickers, and I added all the stickers in here. Um, Other stickers as well. And then some of the art that I've been working on. So these are pulled, I sketched them, but they're pulled right from Gretel's references, though this is a mashup of different references. So she had the skull with the mushrooms and a separate tulip and a separate rose, and I took those and put them into the skull as well, and then all the background and rocks and uh, weeds and stuff down there are my own additions, and then adding the sky. But
I really I really like the pigtail, like the braids. Specifically, that character is giving Tank Girl energy. Um, I don't know if you're familiar. Okay, I'll show you afterwards about Tank Girl because that looks like it could be a character in that comic.
and this does come with a guidebook that kind of walks through like the tools and how to use them, and a little bit of tutorials, not so much. But the big thing, this is why I wanted to get it, is it comes with this, and then it's got a ton of references, all with the color choices and the pens, and those markers are all included here. And so you're able to see kind of,
Mm-hmm.
if that'll focus, yeah, the reference that I used. And the other references are, so again, see sort of how
Mm-hmm.
that reference is. Now, I just went ahead and started trying to draw that because that's how I like to learn, but they do walk you in with baby steps where you can do some swatching. So if I'm looking at this, I'm just looking at my swatches. You can see exactly what the markers look like on this particular kind of paper. And then just outlines of all the stuff in the guidebook that you can fill in and focus only on the coloring and the blending. And so I haven't worked on any of these. I was just so excited. I just drew the girl out, and I'll be coloring those in at some point soon. But anyway, all of this stuff to say, I love art. I love therapeutic arts, and this place just makes me happy. Makes me feel safe. Makes me feel at home. And it's the place where like I can now come and just exist in a place that I know is mine and returns my energy back to me.
And and for everyone listening, I've been getting a lot of texts at night about like the art that Val is doing, and it makes me very happy. So, so because the when Val, I don't know if this is a BPD thing. Obviously, I'm not going to speak to it directly, but I know that when you are engaged and you're doing something and you're feeling that progress, it's a little easier to maintain that like 5 on the scale if we're going 1 to 10. That's what it seems like from out here. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but like I really like getting your texts with your art every night. So I'm happy.
Yeah, actually, and you are so right there. So, part of DBT, there is it's built up in many things: crisis management, um, or I forget what that's exactly called. Not quite crisis management, but um, mindfulness, and I forget what the last section is, but one of mindfulness is so huge, so important. If you've never done like meditation and stuff like that before, it's really important. I actually got a candle burning here, and just having something like that, a pleasing smell. I'll get into my spirituality, which I've discovered in the last little while too, and so I'll get into that at some point. But I do have my little witches shelf here, and so I do spend a. Hmm?
I'm just excited about the witchy stuff. Also it's distress tolerance.
Thank you. Distress tolerance. So I've got my witchy shelf there, and that has been like a huge part to my DBT recovery or BPD recovery as well. But just the mindfulness aspect of like doing the meditation, um, breathing, and being mindful of everything. Um, and I have lost the. Help me out here, Izzy. Where was it going with this?
You're the fact that you are able to focus on one thing for a longer period of time seems to help keep you stable, and DBT is helping with that. And the art combining with the DBT is doing really well. I think that's back on track.
Yes, thank you. So I was going to talk about building mastery, actually, which is a part of DBT. So in DBT, there is something called Build Mastery, which helps you feel that success, that joy of doing something that you're getting better and better and better at. Now, it can be a double-edged sword, because if you go into it and you get frustrated because you're not good at it, that's going to be detrimental, and that's happened to me in the past. But if you're able to go into it again with that mindset of, I'm going to be bad at this until I get good at it, and I'm just going to do it to learn, to have fun, to, I'm not sitting here being like, oh, I should monetize this, I should try and sell my art. Like, it's not for anything like that. It's just for me. And so I'll sit here, I'll do this art, I'll get excited about it, I'll share it on social media, I'll send it to my wonderful friends like Izzy, and just it brings me joy. Just I'll literally sit here and stare at my notebook. One, because the notebook cover is so pretty, it brings me joy,
It
and
really
two,
is.
I'll flip through my art and just stare at my art because it just brings me joy. And so that is another pretty big part of DBT as well, is just building that mastery, and yeah, being able to sit and work on something that does make me happy, because it is really hard to focus on a lot of things these days with the BPD, and trying to um, like really just focus on anything outside of something that brings me joy. It becomes like, when I say it becomes a struggle, I that almost is understating it.
It, even from out here, yes, that's an understatement. Just pretend I gave you a high five just now. I love you. You're good. Don't worry.
Um, yes, and I'm actually really getting used to this, in that I will often lose track of my thoughts as I go on all sorts of different tangents and threads. And Izzy is so wonderful; she can just pull me back in um, to whatever I was saying.
Happy to do it.
Very good at picking up loose threads.
Unless you get me rolling, and then if both of us are going, it's just the amount of conversations we have not finished is extraordinary, especially the longer car rides.
Though, to be fair, I have brought you back some of your threads that you've dropped too, so it's
It's
not a one-sided thing.
no. This is a team sport.
Yeah. So anyway, if I'm doing art now in the recordings, this is what I am. This is why I'm doing it. It brings me so much joy. Um, and you can see here I am coloring in a sketch that I started yesterday. I started coloring yesterday. I pulled it from the back of Gretel's guidebook. If you're able to see closely, which I don't think you can, her face is messed up. I messed it up yesterday. It looked really good. Her face and her hands look good. And then I was using the fine liner to outline, and everything went wrong there. And I tried to fix it and made it worse, which, yeah, sometimes you just have to leave your mistakes. And now it looks worse than it did, but I'm still happy with it. I think she's looking a lot better than what I thought I could draw. And so that makes me happy. So
The tail is really awesome still. So
yeah, no, I am quite happy with that. Her tail and then the outline of her body too. Um,
Mhm.
I don't know if that's focusing enough.
I mean, I can see it if that helps.
Or, yeah, it's a really good camera. I just haven't used it in a long time. I used to be into photography, and I had children and couldn't go out and do wildlife and landscape photography, and already had to wake up at stupid o'clock in the morning for my kids, so I was not waking up that stupider o'clock morning to go out and catch some wildlife photos. So I kind of abandoned that. But um,
So you were going to talk about spirituality. Is it time for that?
no, I don't. I don't think right this second. What I was going to say. So all that to say that like I've now found this space. I found something that will help keep me engaged um, while recording and talking. Um, and like I think put aside the stuff that was causing me to stop recording. So um, I feel like I will be recording more than I was over the last few months, but I still don't think, I don't want this to turn into a job because then I will absolutely not do it. If it stops being fun, I will stop doing it. And really, it's just for me to, yeah, like get my voice out there and have fun doing it, and chat with my wonderful co-host. Um, and once that stops, yeah, being fun or enjoyable, then I will be, you know,
Well, I
not
hope chatting with me is never unenjoyable.
never, but trying to set everything up and
Oh yeah, no, you do way more for this than I do. I'm just the angel and devil on your shoulder. So
um, yeah. So I'm just looking at my script here. So I do want to talk a little bit about the some of the changes that I have gone through trans related recently. And one of them is estrogen injections.
my favorite part was the first time you did it. And then you sent me a message and you were like, I can feel it. Just going through everything. That was my favorite one.
Yeah, it is. It is. Honestly, it can feel almost like an addictive feeling because when you are injecting the estrogen, like you can literally feel it go into your muscle. Now, I do it intramuscularly, um, and so it goes into my thigh muscle. I switch thighs every week, and I started out at point 0.3 milligrams, and I'm now up to point 0.5. Shot day was yesterday, so I do it once a week. Before I was taking pills, estradiol pills under my tongue, so sublingually, and that was great. It worked fine for 2 years. I'm so happy with the changes that I saw in my body and everything. Um, but taking the injections, like I can literally feel the estrogen going into me. I can feel it in my thigh and my leg, and it's just this like calm feeling of like, that's me. Like every time I inject, it's more me and me and me. And it just brings this like level of peace and calm to me that like I didn't feel before. Um, I did feel a little bit of that actually when starting to take the pills, but after a while, the pills just become kind of annoying.
I mean, I'm fine with them. I'm still on pills for now.
Do you take them twice a day though?
Yeah, 3 milligrams twice daily, which is basically the most that any of us are supposed to take. But found out from that. Oh, I guess maybe I shouldn't use her name. I don't know. Anyway, she's on 12 a day, and I was like, "How?" I thought that was just outright not allowed. Give me more estrogen, doctor. But like, I'm fine though. But yeah, no, I want to switch to injections as well. Um, just seeing how you've done for 2 or 3 months, my brain is like, ooh, injections. Let's go with that. Also, it saves the like liver. Because I know you put them under your tongue like sublingually and kind of let them dissolve. I can't do that. The feeling of it is just gross. Um,
Um,
so I just take them like pills. So it's all going through my liver, which is probably not the best solution.
Probably not. Yeah, sublingually does help go by your first pass
Mm-hmm.
liver or something like that. Um, and so it does help with avoiding the liver issues. Um, but be, the other thing that I've heard too is that because you're like when you're taking the pills either sublingually or just digesting them, a lot of it's being absorbed into your body through the digestive system, which reduces sort of the potency of it. You're getting less.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas when you inject, you're getting 100% of that injection into your, um, like absorbed into your body the way it needs to be absorbed into your body. I don't pretend to be good at any of this science stuff. I understand it when people tell me, but I don't fully understand it. So, um,
You're nailing it so far. I understand most of that stuff. I
yeah.
do have I have medical training a tiny bit, but yeah, no. It's definitely. I don't want to say it's a purer form because it's all technically the same, but the current research coming out is that the injections are probably going to be what is considered the best option. Like, so it's more likely that all of us trans ladies will get injectable estrogen as like a first choice. But that's obviously there's a lot of research for us that never gets done, which I know I would very much love if we had more research so we could go on things that are actually real and concrete. Um, but it does seem to be heading that way. So injections for everyone.
Yeah, yeah, that would be nice. But um, so I started those a few months ago. Been on them for at least 3, 4 months now, I think. And the effects were, I don't want to say immediate, but like HRT is a marathon, not a sprint.
I don't know that first month though. I gotta tell you,
Yeah,
I noticed for sure.
yeah. I mean, it does take a little while to get through all of the changes, kind of. I guess that you're hoping for, right? And so, um, yeah, with the injections, it's much faster. Now, I don't want to say it's a sprint, but like the growth that I've seen in these last few months has been insane. Um,
Seconded.
so it does, one, my face has changed shape again, just the displacement of the fat, the softening of the skin. I saw, was it like last night? I think I showed my wife a picture of me from December of 2024, which I'd already been on hormones for um, a year and a bit then, I think, but pre surgery and all that. Um, And then a picture from December of 2025. And the change was like crazy, stark difference. So, the changes in your skin, your face, your hips, like where the fat stores, your butt. But the one thing it does do, and this is where like a lot of gals really want, is of course breast growth. Um, and I had kind of like where I feel like I stalled out there. I'm happy with what I have, but it just they weren't full. They were there. The size is perfectly fine, but they didn't feel full enough. And oh,
Oh,
there's my familiar, Mrs. Zena, and she always needs to join me whenever I'm down here. Um, but yeah, it just like I don't know. There's times where I'd be looking in the mirror and be like, are these just big pecs or are they boobs? Um, and then I went on the injections, and the injections were like, oh, this is doing exactly what I want them to do.
Yeah,
Um,
them some boobies now.
yeah, yeah. I don't know if they've like grown necessarily in like say band or cup size. It would be cup size, but I don't think they've necessarily grown that way. But they're a lot more full, where they fill my bras out a lot more. They've the teardrop shape that you typically see with cis boobs um, are there. Um, and they just look a lot more uh, like breasts. And so for anyone who is looking for that kind of growth, injections are definitely the way to go. And also, if you're just tired of having to take one more pill every day, once a week, or I guess you could even do like once every other week. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, there's some options there, but I don't remember reading anything about what's better. But I imagine that a more consistent thing has got to keep the levels more even. The last thing we need is to be spiking our estrogen and getting all hormonal. We're already bad enough.
generally as a group.
yes. Um, so yeah, I think that's been a huge bonus. And for anyone, again, who is looking for those kind of benefits, uh, injections, ask your healthcare provider about them. They,
Always, always, always do it supervised.
oh yes, yes, of
You
course.
need a professional.
I will say though that my nurse practitioner, normally what um, they do is like you'll come in after you get sorted out, like on what dose you're going to start with, all that stuff, get your supplies. You'll go in, and your nurse practitioner will like do the shot on you and tell you, kind of walk you through what they're doing. For me though, I got there and I was like, no, I want to do this myself. Like, can you just watch me do it and walk me through it, and I'll do it? And they did say that that was the first time that they've had a client who has done their first shot themselves. Now, I do have some previous training um, on using needles through IVF. And so I've used them. I was kind of quite comfortable. And then if you've seen all the tattoos I have, I am obviously not afraid of needles. So yeah, I was so excited. I just had to do it. I just had to get in there and get it done myself. And then um, yeah, it's been a crazy journey ever since. So that is on injections, and maybe Izzy will have more to say on that in the near future, hopefully.
I'll keep everyone informed. I just gotta where we are. They're not really covered. The injections are not covered by any of the like provincial plans or anything. So I got a budget,
Yeah,
but the pills are covered. So at least I'm still on track. Still doing my thing.
and that's why most people here don't start on injections, outside of like, of course, people being afraid of needles or just not wanting to go that route. But one of the main reasons is the cost compared to pills. So
And it's not bad. Like the cost isn't horrendous, but like it can be a little bit much for some people, myself included. But I'm working on
yeah.
it. I want the sweet sweet estrogen injections, and I'm gonna work towards it. That's a goal now.
Yeah, and honestly, like, there's no shame in anything here. Estrogen is estrogen, and any estrogen is better than no estrogen. So you do what is right for you. And again, I was on pills for like over 2 years. Was super happy with how they were working. And now I'm super happy with injections. But I wouldn't ever look down on anyone on pills, or even me having to go back to them.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's that is one thing that the what little research there is basically the injections keep on average a more stable hormone level, whereas the pills do kind of send you up and down most days. And the injections are just generally speedier. Like the effects take like the changes take effect earlier, but even in pills, it's the same thing. The timeline's just a year or two longer.
Yeah.
So like all of it comes down to roughly the same, but it just depends on how quickly you want to get there. It's most of what I read anyway. Again, not a doctor, so
Yeah, and as far as I can tell, that's the same understanding that I have. So
oh, this isn't in your little script, but I'm excited and proud of it, and I don't know if I no, I did mention to you. I had you yell at me the other day. I have not had a smoke in a week now.
hey.
So I'm excited about it. And yeah, no, the I think it was yesterday, I think, where I was like, you need to tell me as meanly as you can not to go outside for one because I really wanted to. Anyway, I was excited about that, so I want to throw that in. Back to the script.
Absolutely. That's super exciting. Addictions are really tough to navigate, and I've learned a lot about addiction in my, you know, especially in the last year or so, because BPD can bring addiction with it too. I'm actually completely sober. That's something that did happen. I'm a year sober as of this past Christmas. Um, and I didn't necessarily struggle with um, dependency with alcohol, but given my BPD and my emotions, alcohol just heightened everything, and so staying away from it is just a better idea for me. But yeah, also happy to talk about what I know about addiction and stuff too. If people struggle with that at all, I, on the other hand, have process addictions, and so that can be things like spending, your phone and social media. That can be an addiction. It's any process that you have of going through something. Love, sex addictions, like these are all process addictions, which we're learning more about outside of just substance use, which are still incredibly difficult addictions to live with, but there is a lot of overlap there. So
yeah, yeah.
So I do have more in my list of stuff, but I think we might save that for another episode. We are at almost 50 minutes, and I might cut it into two. And I think, I think we'll leave it at that, and then do another episode sometime soon. Maybe next week. We can try to record something else and do something a little bit more, I guess, trans focused. I do want to talk about community at some point, because that's been a huge part of my trans experience. Dance. I talked a little bit about it before, but dance, art, the power of hobbies, also spirituality, because that can be a tough thing. I know I have my own sort of trauma and issues around certain religions and how trans people are perceived through those religions, and so it's been very freeing for me. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, and the spirituality angle for me, that spirituality is one of the things that made me realize I was trans.
Yeah.
So definitely have a story to tell there.
Yeah. But the one thing that I do want to cover is the last thing here on my list. So want to make this absolutely clear, just in case there would be any questions about it, which I don't know why there would be. But anyway, fuck ICE.
Fuck ICE completely.
Yeah. So this podcast. We fully support human rights. We fully support all human rights. Gay rights, trans rights.
No illegal humans.
No, yeah, there are no illegal humans. We fully support immigrants and migrants, and just wanting to make sure that everybody is safe where they are and with who they are. And when we talk about safety with immigrants, there's a large part of the current, I guess, world issues that are trying to tell everyone that migrants and immigrants are unsafe and they only cause crime and whatever bullshit. And yes, I am.
True.
Sorry?
Yeah, just completely and utterly, blatantly not true.
Blatantly untrue. And so we do fully support human rights and people and belonging, and that includes immigrants. Immigrants, especially in the West where we are, made our countries, and we stole land from people who were here before, and so we don't have any right to claim over it more than anyone else does. Outside of those indigenous folks. So fuck ICE and whatever the hell the current administration over there is doing right now.
Yeah. Seconded. Fuck them completely.
Yeah. So we support abortion and healthcare and trans rights, gay rights.
Wait. We support trans rights?
No.
Oh no.
But all right.
Yeah, no, all of those things. Human rights are universal, no matter what type of human it is. It's really simple. Just fucking love people. Pardon my language. Like, God.
And yes, we will be swearing for this because this is important, and we need to get angry about it. And we need to get angry at people who are attacking human rights for others, and use that anger and rage towards positive change, which is difficult, and it can be very difficult during these times to have any sort of positivity. So.
Yeah. It's getting harder and harder every day.
Yeah. All right, we will leave it at that until next time.
All right, bye.